you guys will join me in reciting the pledge.
Like the river.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the January 12th, 2026 Frankfort Municipal Utility Service Board meeting. As always, the first item on our agenda is roll call.
Rick Gunyon.
Present.
Mike Kelly.
Present.
Mike Reeder.
Present.
Krista Stillwell.
Present.
Josh Hewitts.
Present. Okay, next item on the agenda this afternoon is the approval of minutes. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to make?
No corrections are in, but I would move for approval. Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Rick Gunyon.
I am abstaining in that I did not have the opportunity to read the minutes. So,
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
Krista Stillwell.
Aye.
Josh Hewitts.
Aye. Okay, next on the agenda this afternoon, is public participation. Did anybody sign up for public participation?
No, there is not.
Okay, moving right along to safety minute. Does anyone have a safety minute?
Chase does.
All right.
So safety minute tonight is the 5 common contributing factors to workplace injuries. The 5 being distractions, complacency, poor housekeeping, and poor planning, as well as taking shortcuts. So just starting through those, a major unsafe act that results in many workplace injuries is taking shortcuts. There are various reasons why workers take shortcuts, but eventually enough shortcuts will lead to a workplace accident. Distractions also take away from what is actually going on in the workplace or what is being done. That can include clutter, noise, other mental distractions. Cell phones are always a problem. Takes your mind off of what is being done. Complacency basically just being that you're used to the job, you're used to the work, and you feel you know exactly what's going to happen every time, and you don't. You never know what's going to happen from time to time, and that's what begins to cause some of the shortcuts. And then poor planning. Poor planning always leads to poor work. I think there's another saying that goes along those lines, but I'll leave that for you guys to look at. Housekeeping as well. Housekeeping is a major factor. Things laying around, things you could trip, fall over, quality of hoses that may be using or equipment, things like that. So just the 5 contributing factors to be aware of. Says that an estimated 80 out of 100 people who are involved in a workplace accident fall under one of these 5. So that's my safety minute.
All right. Thanks, Chase. Good advice. All right. Next on the agenda is reports from department heads, and we will start with the auditor's report from Andrew Day.
Nothing really other than end of year items. Getting the year's not closed. We probably won't close until I'll shoot for mid-February.
Okay.
That's kind of been my goal. Got to wait on the city to get to a closing point as well before we close. I've closed before them significantly earlier, and there's been some changes that have been made, and it's just easier to wait. But I am at a point where, other than going through assets and getting those caught up for the year, we're at a pretty good spot. I think the opening and the changeover to 26 went well. I haven't heard anything from any of the secretaries or anything. So
okay.
Yeah, I think we're rolling. We're open into 26 and moving right along.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Andrew? Okay. We'll move on then to billing office report and Karen Milam. Hi, Karen.
So for the month of December, we had 29 new customers start service. We had 1 brand new service that a customer moved into. We sent out 9,969 bills. Of those, we also sent out 1,697 disconnects. Last week, I had a meeting with um, our manager for Tyler. He spoke to me about resident access, which is a new updated way for people to pay their bills. So we're currently on citizen self-service. It's very outdated, not very user friendly. We received a lot of complaints over the years, so that's something that will be implemented hopefully within the next month or so.
Oh, wow.
I think it should be fairly easy. It's going to have a lot more options for people to pay. They'll be able to pay once they get their account signed up. They will have to sign up for a new account. But once they do that, they can get text alerts. They could even pay directly through their text once they get payment information set up. So it should be a lot better for people to pay their bills online, a lot easier.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. You guys, anyone have any questions?
Just let me know if there's anything you want posted on social media or if you guys are going to do it about that
Okay.
deployment. So.
Yep.
Thanks, Karen. Okay, next up is the electric department report with Phil Farrell.
Good afternoon. I passed out a end of the year tree trimming report from our contract tree trimmers. Does anybody have any questions on it?
Do we have the same amount in the budget for the upcoming year?
2026, yes. Yep.
How's the public handling it has there been any feedback? I mean, I know she's good at PR with.
Yeah, she's real good at PR, Mike, and I've only had to go out on probably, out of the 3 or 4 years we've been doing this, I probably went out and met with 4 or 5 customers and explained to them how we were doing things, and then they was good with it from then on. So it really hadn't been any, few upset people, but nothing like we anticipated at the start, and it really hadn't been a big deal to, explain what was going on. And there's an understanding of it, so everything's good.
Okay.
So it's the end of the year time, and so I don't take total credit for this for the employees watching at home. But I had Robert go over. He's doing the end of the year plant property assets values and stuff. And in 2025, we set a total of 148 poles on the system, and 87 of those poles were used for 9 sections of lines that we deemed that needed to be rebuilt. And in 2025, we added service to 29 new houses, 2 barndominiums, 6 pole barns, and 2 garages. We also did 5 underground primary extensions to new homes, and we started our first one for 2026 today. On the trouble call side of things, we responded to 190 trouble calls. Out of those 190, 62 was overhead equipment failures, so broken cutouts, blown lightning arresters, busted insulators. We had 4 underground equipment failures, 25 weather-related outages, 63 animals, and 18 of those calls were on the customer side. Then we had 4 tree calls and 5 unknown problems while the lines kicked out, and 9 vehicle accidents. That's what we did in 2025.
All right.
I have a question. Is there any learning points on the 9 vehicle accidents? Is there anything we can learn or take away from those in terms of accident reduction in the future or awareness or?
Tell people to be more observant and don't drink and drive. And these were 9 vehicle accidents that like hit poles and stuff, not of us. Is that what you understood it?
I didn't understand that, no.
Yeah. No, these were 9 calls that we responded to that were vehicle-related accidents.
Where our pole collided with a car somehow. Okay.
Jumped out in front of it. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
That's good. All right. Thanks, Phil. All right. Next on the list is Shane Jacoby with our IT report.
Hello. Email conversion has gone well. um, Most people have been able to get back into their accounts now. Um, Last week, I was able to get SCADA moved over for wastewater, and this week we'll be working on Waterworks for their SCADA, and then start working on billing office. They have an account that needs to be moved over as well. So,
Okay.
and then also Friday and then today, I started working on some archive migrations from the old system so I can get that put into the new. So,
Okay, great.
probably be a whole lot of these reports in the near future. Just
Oh, I'm sure.
archiving. So, other than that, things appear to be going well. So, any questions for me?
No.
Cool.
Well done with the email migration. I have
Yes.
not heard very many complaints, and I know lots of people that like to complain. So, congratulations to you.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
So, all right, thanks, Shane. Okay, next on the agenda is our water department report and Chase Thompson.
So at the plant this last month, we had Peerless had come out, did some work on our high service pump motor. I think we had talked about that in the past.
Yes.
Found that the motor was failed due to bad windings, could not be rebuilt, so they replaced it. I do have some pictures and some things. If anybody is interested in those and seeing what that looks like, I can send them to you.
Okay.
We also had a contactor on one of our hypo transformers inside the building, shorted and burnt. Actually caught fire, burnt some wires, burnt some electrical components up inside. Those are fixed. We have not figured out exactly why that had happened, but kind of narrowing it down to a couple different things. And Skiles came out in a hurry and got that fixed and back up and going. Not that we had any issues there, but we had plenty of reserve to be able to move off of that. But yeah, it's back up and working. So then we also replaced backup batteries. We had some start to go bad on our security system, so went through and did some change outs of the battery backups in the plant. Pumpage for the month, our highest day was 1.58 million gallons on December 2nd. Our lowest day was 2.3 million gallons on December 25th, as you can imagine. Again, to give historical information, from 2021 of December, our highest day was December 8th in 2021 at 4.26 million, and our low day was 1.5 million. So still not seeing a lot of change from even 4 years ago. Maintenance, they replaced a hydrant that was hit out at Dave Rodkey's out by Rule King. That job was pretty labor intensive. We were out there for 2 days. Ended up having to put in insert a valve, shut that section of main down so that we did not shut. I think there are 9 restaurants, a hospital, a church, and all kinds of other things out that way. We were able to loop around, but couldn't do it without that insert a valve. So it is in, the hydrant is in, everything's working great. We will probably have some restoration work in his yard to do.
Sure.
Not a lot we can do about that. They repaired 3 main breaks. They had 5 call outs. 2 of them were services for a homeowner. And then they also replaced another hydrant that was hit today, that was hit last night. It was leaking, so we had an outage. There was a boil advisory issued today for that. Other things that are going on this year for 26, we're gearing up for lead and copper samples. That'll start probably here once the weather gets a little bit better, but start sending out samples and collections from homeowners. We also did our risk resiliency analysis. It is due this year as well, and I will have to get with the police and the fire on that as well. they have to go through it and sign off on it, that they've read it.
Okay.
And then we also have our water loss audit that'll be due in August, but it takes a little bit of time with getting everything certified, and the certifiers are pretty busy. There's not a lot of them in the state, and there's a lot of people that need to get those in. So those are things going on.
Okay.
I got a question. Is that short in the new building?
Yes. Inside the pre-built transformer, though.
Okay.
It was wiring that was in a transformer that's pre-built.
Something that we purchased.
Yes.
It was in on the construction though, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions for Chase? All right,
Thank you.
you're off the hook. Okay, next is wastewater and sewer management, and that is PJ Whitaker.
Okay, the guys at the plant did some crane repairs. We had an inspection a few months back. There were some suggestions, so we made those repairs. And they also been doing vehicle maintenance.
Okay.
We started sampling for local limits, which is a 5-year evaluation. So we started sampling last week for that. It'll continue for 3 weeks, and then we send a bunch of documents to the EPA, and then they give us feedback on how industry affects our plant.
Okay, interesting.
The maintenance guys had 9 call-outs. 6 of them were on property owners. We did a storm repair on MASH, repaired a lateral on Varner, a lateral on Columbia, a catch basin on Washington Avenue, and a manhole repair on Walsh.
Okay.
Where we found some storm infiltration.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully that takes care of a lot of it over that way.
Good.
Crossing our fingers, there's a lot over there still.
Right, yeah. All right, anybody have any questions for PJ? All right, thanks, PJ.
Yep.
All right, Rick, Lagoons update.
So I don't have much other than this time of year. Probably time to talk about our annual planning for the lagoons. So I would inform you that in the month of February, I will complete maybe a draft plan for
Okay.
review by the board for what improvements I think we should focus on at lagoons this coming year. It will entail some fishing improvements, some wildlife improvements, and some call it human factors improvements for the population, the public, and so forth.
Okay.
Not to forget, last year we approved some security changes, and I'll just leave it at that. And now that we have done some due diligence work in terms of our property lines and so forth, we will be taking that forward this year as well, and getting that moving probably in February as well also. So we've got a lot going on in terms of future planning. We'll bring it up to the board perhaps either the second meeting in February or March. So I'll be developing it in February. If that's understandable. And if you have if any of the board members have any suggestions or questions, my phone number.
Okay.
Send me an email, whatever. I'm happy to take input.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's what I got. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. Next on the agenda is our general manager, Todd Corey.
Had to jump up here quick. So I always jump up when Rick's going on the
Yeah,
lagoons.
you're ready to rock.
I've been having, I'm sure everybody understands, last week and during the holidays, the only thing that really kept moving along was talks with the data center people.
Mm-hmm.
And last week I had many conversations, about a 2.5 hour long Zoom call. And it's all getting to the point of the electric. I was involved in some meetings that doesn't have anything to do with us because it covers a TIPMOT territory, but
Sure.
I was in on those calls as well. Or the Zoom call, that's the one that took a long time. And right now we should have they should have paperwork going from IMPA to the developer to sign the agreement so that they can start the construction from the 230 sub down to the area at 300 and 0. on the ConAgra site.
Correct.
That's how far that has progressed here in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And
Okay.
they're hammering their lawyers are hammering out the details
That's
with
a
one
lot
another.
of progress.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's interesting. These calls are very, very interesting when they get in there. So, so that's all looking good. But it is a lot of time getting involved with all these people, and then, well, I won't get into all of it.
Yeah.
Some of it was
So-
kind of hilarious.
Todd, would it be safe to say for the folks that are watching at home or may not really know the boundaries of our electric territory that essentially we're talking about the area south of the railroad tracks would be Frankfort Municipal Utilities
Exactly. We have a
electric
little
territory, and then the area that they're talking about, the vast majority of the area that's being discussed to be rezoned is in Tipmont.
Yes,
sound accurate?
we have about 90%, or Tipmont, that would be 90% of that territory would be Tipmont.
Correct.
And there is a little section there, but from the rendering that I did see, there actually will not be a portion of a data center on that property. It might be parking lot or a retention pond. So
Right.
everything we're focused on right now is south of the railroad tracks.
Right.
And
Okay.
south of the railroad tracks, west of 300 West,
Okay, thank you.
that area there. But I don't foresee us really getting much out of the area that was being rezoned or potentially rezoned.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just thought it was important to point that out for folks that may not know that our electric territory does not necessarily coincide with where we provide water, sewer, and those types of things. That they're different.
Right. And just to throw some numbers out there, they're looking at building a 345 kV line from Lafayette down to this area. And once again, anybody watching it, it's not our territory, so it doesn't go on our bills. It doesn't go on anybody.
Right.
At the rate of 4 million miles or $4 million a mile.
So they have substantial interest in it. Sounds like if they're willing to
Yes.
make that kind of investment.
And there, I tell you what, when they gave them that number, they didn't bat an eye at all.
Interesting.
But yeah, just to be clear,
Yeah.
that is not us.
Okay.
That's Tipmont.
To also clarify that, the part that would be in our territory at this point isn't going to be a high electric use. It would be a normal electric use.
No,
is
it
that
would
correct?
be a high electric.
It would be,
use.
so it would have to go through the IURC and everything like that.
Not to extend not to extend them a line. It would not have to.
But for the rates and everything like that.
We already have a rate established for a large user in our rate structure.
Rate structure. Okay.
Now, with that following along, with tracker factor stuff like that, yes, all
That's
that would
all
have to go
through the
that
IURC.
too. Yeah,
Okay.
Right.
but we do have a rate. We have a rate established for a user this large. It's never been used for us, but we do have one.
And that was approved by the IURC in advance, though.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
yes.
Good question.
I
Could
feel
I-
like people ask that a lot,
No,
and so that was something I
that's
wanted to
important
clarify.
information.
Yeah,
for
I
folks
think
to
it's
know.
important for people to know and understand that the amount of checks and balances tied to these types of rates and these types of developments. So,
So could I maybe clarify for those that heard all this? In the case of our electric service area, is the technical term, our electric service area is south of the railroad tracks and a small portion, I believe it's 50 north and south, north of the tracks, which, as you say, is going to be not data center construction per se. It may be parking, it may be another use, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
no electricity use up there to speak of, other than maybe security lights or whatever.
Yeah,
And what the distinction is, in the case, that's the case of electricity. In the case of water and wastewater, we are the municipal utility supplier in the area, and so we will be providing water, potable water, and wastewater services to the entire site, is the current thinking. They have no other option other than do something different. And so the distinction being the entire rezone area would be served by Frankfort Water and Frankfort Wastewater, correct?
that's our intention. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Or not our intention. That has been the intention all, or
Yeah,
the
exactly.
intention all along.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And really, when it comes down to it, it's just going to be domestic use for all practical purposes with the system that they're talking about using and everything. So
And when we say domestic use, that's bathrooms, kitchens.
Bathrooms and kitchens, stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah. I don't think in a data center there'd be a lot of mopping of floors or anything like that. So it's just, I call it domestic use.
The I think it's called the primary filling cycle for the water cooled equipment would be filled once, as I understand it, and that using that technology. But then, because they're planning to use a 100% recyclable closed loop system, there would be very little, if any, water occasionally drawn.
Yes.
Maybe once every month or 2 months. But again, it's on the order of domestic use volumes, not millions of gallons per day or anything like that. So
Correct.
As this whole effort goes forward, the simple fact is we are learning more and more detail about how you characterize the utility connections we provide, and it's becoming more and more evident that there is more than enough capacity in every regard, and there are no concerns about having to do something to react to that opportunity. So
yeah, I would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
And Todd, I apologize. I completely derailed your report by starting to jabber.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Unless someone else had something. Did you raise your hand? Okay. So please proceed. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Krista sent out an email, I believe it was Friday, from Carolyn Wright. And I had discussions with her about 2 weeks prior to that. So I've been looking into it. Karen was on vacation the week before last. Heck, I don't even know what weeks we are anymore. So we briefly talked about it. And these may be mandates that are coming down if you are a member of the IURC, that you have to have budget billing. And the other thing is the times to do disconnects, which if it's getting terribly cold out, it's going to be a long stretch. We've always made a judgment call. We weren't going to do them until the temperatures get to a certain point. Now they're going to mandate that you can't do them if the projected temperature is going to get to 95 degrees or higher, and the heat index is going to be above 105.
Okay.
And it's not whether you wait to see if it's going to happen. It's if the weatherman or the weather people, I should say, predict that.
Okay.
Then you have to wait. Now we do have the module for budget billing with our Munis software that we have. We cannot get on the list for about 6 months, they said, right? So we have that situation, and then it's also $4,300 to implement.
Okay.
Now, I think there are pluses and minuses of doing it, but we may not have a choice.
Okay.
Karen and I talked this morning, and we went ahead. Did you go ahead and get on the list just in case if we did? Okay. She emailed them. I mean, if we back out of it, then that's fine.
Right. No, that's a good idea to get on the list.
The other
because
alternative,
even if something does happen,
yeah,
it likely won't be signed into law until July anyway.
Right, because it's going to the House tomorrow.
Yeah, because it's already made it through first and second reading. Yeah, it's a priority bill, so it's
So we do have that on the forefront now with the temperatures. You know, it's a humanity thing. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Now the other thing, and I know it's been discussed on and off, never did get the ball rolling. The other thing is you always can withdraw from the IURC because we're only one of two communities in IMPA that's actually in the IURC.
Okay.
So I have had some discussions with Clay. He's putting stuff together, what that would take to do. I know Tipton did just done it, I think at the end of 24, maybe early 25. They withdrew from it as well.
Okay. Well, compiling that information and, watching the bill and seeing whether or not, it seems like it probably has traction. So if we're going to remain in the IURC, that's something we're going to have to accommodate people with. So I guess my point is this is certainly worth a larger conversation and more discussion on our part as to what we want to do with that.
Well, I'm sorry, Josh.
No, that's okay. So I was wondering how you folks wanted to handle that. Do you want me to put it on the agenda for our next meeting as a preliminary discussion, or is this something you think's worth a work session, or do you folks have any thoughts on that?
I myself, and I'd like to hear from the other board members, I would like to hear back from Clay
Okay.
first,
Okay.
so we're more informed. And then I have an additional thought. Clay being an expert in this area, my thought would be to ask Clay to put together just a one-page pro and con list of the advantages and disadvantages of withdrawing from the IURC. Certainly, it would give us more flexibility and autonomy. When I talked to 2 other communities in the past year who have done that, in the past 10 years, they withdrew. They were doing it for flexibility reasons.
Right.
And then there may be some pros as to staying in the IURC.
Yeah.
So my thought would be let's hear back from Clay, and then secondly, let's ask for a pro and con. And
No, that makes sense. Let's sit tight until we hear back from Clay.
I think so.
Yeah.
But not again. If
I like
others-
that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I would agree, because there's other things other than this pending bill that we need to be thinking about.
Well, sure. There
I
are
agree.
there are actually a lot of bills going through session right now that are in some way, shape, or form related to utilities.
Mhm.
I mean,
Okay.
so it's worth probably paying attention to from a lot of different respects. There are a lot of things related to disconnects, a variety of things. And I know she included all of those in her second attachment with her legislative updates email. If you haven't had time to scan that, a lot related to local government finance, economic development, just a lot of things that could potentially affect utilities. It'd be a good idea to just keep our eyes on all of that.
Okay.
So I think rather than us shooting from the hip, I know I'm not an expert in this area.
Neither am I.
Let's get some more information from someone it is. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Would you like me to see if Clay could be here at the February? So I'm assuming our next meeting is February 2nd.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
myself, I would be more interested in the pros and cons
First?
First.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something
Yep.
we can digest and kick around, and then maybe if questions are appropriate, or a one-on-one, or a call-in via Teams, I'm flexible that way.
Yeah. Or even if we need to form a committee that can make recommendations on to the USB or something like that, if we don't want to involve everyone, or I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud
Sure.
since this is a little bit more of a special project.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Todd. Sorry again for interrupting your report.
No, you're fine. That's what we're here for, is the discussion. Really, those are the things I had. It's the working with the data center, and then this House bill that's on there is where we're at. Fortunately, with this, we kind of have we have some of the groundwork done. We just never have implemented the things, and to go from there, the budget billing, because that could be a big thing. And Karen
Yeah,
told me that
for sure.
we got one person having heart palpitations just thinking about it. So
Those kinds of changes are always difficult, and it
Yeah.
takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
To us, it doesn't seem like a big deal. Yeah, let's do it. But that means, I don't have to implement the thing either.
Yeah, so I think it would be important to make
Yeah.
sure Karen is involved as we
Yeah,
have these
absolutely.
conversations.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
Look at her
So-
face
correct.
right now. She's so excited.
But other than that, everything's going real well. I was out a couple times with different crews and everything, and they had a mess over on Armstrong the other day, but I think they got through all that today, didn't they, Jay? Or no, they had to work on the fire hydrant today. But things are going well,
Okay.
real well.
Good. Anybody have any questions or comments for Todd? Okay, related to his report, I guess. All right.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of claims. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
I move that we approve the claims as presented.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion by Mike and a second by, I think,
Krista, hello.
Krista.
My name is Krista.
I'm getting bad. I just turned
At
50.
least you paused
I just
and
turned
waited for the right
51
name.
yesterday.
I'll hold signs up.
At least you paused and waited for the right name and didn't call it the wrong name.
All right, roll call.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Mike Kelly,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Josh Ewitz.
Aye. Okay, next on the agenda is unfinished business. The first item under unfinished business is the employee handbook approval, which is something we've been discussing. And I think the last time we all talked, we left it that we were waiting for, we were going to let Alicia go through that. I may need to go to the doctor. We're going to let Alicia go through that, provide her feedback. Last time I talked to you, you weren't quite ready.
Yep, I'm still working on that. I'm hoping to have that ready for the February 2nd meeting. So I'm still working through it. I did have a question, Krista. We had talked about, Jeremy had some suggestions, and I think, if I'm remembering correctly, you were going to look through those and then send me something about
and
that.
let me go back to, because I had sent out the document that I had already cleaned up, and if I forgot to copy you on that, that's my fault.
Okay.
So I will send you that copy.
Okay, thank you very much.
A lot of it was
Appreciate
grammatical. I think the biggest change that he had put in place was some recommendations on some things that I know we had talked about that we were not going to implement.
Okay.
So it's probably pretty minor in the grand scheme of things, but I will
Okay.
make sure to send that to you.
Okay, I think the last email I
Yeah.
saw was maybe what he had recommended, but wasn't the final cleaned up version. So
Okay.
if you could send that, that would be awesome.
Okay. The next item on there is we discussed having a salary survey and getting a quote from Jeremy York. Regarding that, Krista, I know that you spearheaded that and that you have talked to Jeremy York from Invigorate regarding that topic, and you sent us an email recently with the proposal for services.
Yep.
And I will turn that over to you.
Well, I know that Rick's been having some email trouble, so Rick has not had a chance to
Okay.
review this. But I mean, obviously him and I spoke briefly before the meeting. So essentially the way he quoted this was for us to analyze compensation and benchmarks. And I had him quoted in a way where we would only be analyzing a small subsection of our entire employee base. He did put in here a total project fee for 8 positions, and then an additional fee if we would choose to add additional positions. So those positions are at our discretion.
Okay.
And then the way he explained this process is it's not really him going out and making phone calls to similar sized utilities or anything like that. They actually use a database that takes into consideration a large subset of data. It's got a very high accuracy rate from comparison standpoint. It allows you to put in a lot of information so that you know you're truly comparing apples to apples and when
Okay.
they go to set these benchmarks in place. And it's been a strategy they've used in multiple sizes of municipalities, private sector organizations. He feels very confident that it will arm us with the data that we want for future planning. And so other than that, really, the ball is in our court deciding should we approve this, what positions we do want to examine.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's, since not everyone's had a chance to read through this and check it out, let's just table the item.
Yep.
Until our next meeting, and then if anybody else has any further comments or questions or this evening or discussion about it, please feel free.
That's good.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
And perhaps it's something I should have brought up earlier, but my understanding from my background in large industry, when we talk about compensation, what we're really talking about is the total compensation package. So it's salary and wages plus, I wrote it down here, benefits. Benefits including life and health insurance and PTO including paid time off, including vacation pay, personal days, and holidays. So my assumption going in, and it was my assumption, is we'd be looking for a total compensation benchmark.
Okay.
But when I read this report, as I look at the wording throughout the text, it continues to go back and talk about pay and pay rates and salary.
Okay.
So my question is, and I don't know which way the board would prefer to go, because we supply a very modern, comprehensive benefit package, in my opinion, we would be short selling ourselves if we did not consider
those kinds of benefits in our comp package. So
Sure.
does the board think that way? And if so, do we want to clarify with this contract or quote that that's what we're looking for as opposed to just salary?
I'll let you answer that,
Yeah,
Krista, 'cause I haven't
I'd be
talked to
more than
Jeremy.
happy to follow up with him and ask him that question and make sure that when they're referring to compensation, obviously it does sound very much like it's pay rates based on job descriptions and things of that nature. So I can follow up with him and go back and see if that would change the narrative of the estimate, or if that is considered compensation for the sake of this proposal.
Okay.
So I will go back and clarify that with
Okay,
him.
and it may be they're not real precise in the wording of this boilerplate text.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Then again, it may be that, oh, that's a different quote. Well, it's
Okay.
more data, so we got to look.
Exactly.
It's a little more
Yep.
cost.
Yep.
And again, my preference would be the total comp package.
Yep.
I
And it
think-
may have been how I worded it when I requested it as well,
Okay,
right? That
well-
maybe I wasn't specific in the way that
Okay.
we wanted full package.
So I would guess I'll have my email fixed pretty soon. So if you can give us an update on that between
Yep.
meetings, we'll keep this
Yep.
moving. Okay.
Absolutely.
And I do like the format and form of what's in this proposal. I think this is a good way to go.
Yeah.
In general, with that one question still being open.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Mike?
Yeah,
good.
I think Rick and I even talked to one time about the fact that we needed to really take a look at the
The whole
whole
picture.
package that we're offering, because it's getting more expensive all the time for
Mhm.
the
Insurance.
non-salary stuff.
Okay, sure. Nope. All makes sense to me. Okay.
Okay.
Next item under unfinished business is the Prairie Creek Watershed partnership that we had discussed, specifically the agreement that we had asked Alicia, got it this time, to come up with. And she has done so. So certainly I would never ask any of you to vote on something that we put in front of you the same day. So she had no intentions for us to do so. This is strictly for you to have and for you to look over and make suggestions, edits, comments, anything of that nature, and then we'll take it up again at our next meeting.
Josh, I do have to leave here in a couple of
That's
minutes
fine.
to get to Board of Works,
Yeah.
since that's also tonight. But if you guys do have things that you want clarified, I've got a note here. Rick and I were talking before the meeting about clarifying who is going to collaborate with the Drainage Board, whether
Right.
that's the chairman or the liaison, that sort of thing. I will
Yeah.
put some language in there to that effect. If there's other things that need changed, just send me an email and I'll be glad to make any changes you'd like.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia.
Mhm.
Anyone else have anything to discuss?
It's not
regarding-
about the agreement, but I noticed we
Yeah.
all got a email from Dan Sheets about a project, and I think we need to get this agreement in place, and then we know how to proceed when
Correct.
we do get those kind of requests, and
Yeah.
and who they should go channeled through. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that was something I brought up to Josh, like
It was.
offline, is just like, hey, I think we need to actually create like a liaison/committee for this relationship, right? Because this is a significant partnership that will result in communication, much like our departments or the lagoons or these other committees that we have in place that oversee these ongoing things. So
I agree.
So based on that, would it be advantageous for me in my clarification to say that there would be a liaison appointed from the Utility Service Board who will communicate and collaborate with the Drainage Board then?
That was going to be my suggestion
Okay.
later in
Yep,
the
I
meeting.
can do that.
Yep.
And then my intention is that it is to be a non-binding agreement. I believe that's what we discussed. So I do have that in there, that it's at the Utility Service Board's discretion. So anything that would be selected by the board to be either an in-kind project or a financial support project, that would need to be voted on by the entire board. But then that liaison
Correct.
would be the person that would kind of collaborate with the Drainage Board
Okay.
to get the project rolling and bring it back to the board with the information necessary.
Yep.
Okay. If you have any other comments or questions or things that need changed, just let me know and I will be glad to make them. And then I will send out a revised draft with that liaison in there
Okay.
as soon as I get a chance to make that change.
Thank you, Alicia.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
With that, I'm going to leave.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other unfinished business that I didn't get put on here that anybody can think of, or okay, we'll move on. on to new business. And there's a couple of topics here I put them together. One was for the reason we just talked about, was creating a new liaison assignment for the Prairie Creek Watershed Partnership, and possibly another liaison for to bridge the gap between the Utility Service Board and our local planning partners in Clinton County, whether that be the APC or City Plan, Chamber of Commerce, so on and so forth. So the first topic I put as long-term planning, and Rick and I had spoken offline, and he had some suggestions in regards to that specific topic. So Rick, if you're so inclined, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So sometimes it's appropriate when looking forward to look in your rearview mirror first. With Todd's help, let me inform the board that in 2008, the board at that time contracted with Wessler and Associates down in Indy to develop a 15-year capital improvement plan for FMU. So that ran between, the period of that plan was 2009 to 2023.
Okay.
So you can see we're probably due for a new improvement plan. Typically, this is called more of a strategic plan, meaning we're trying to identify the big boxes and elements of planning, so we don't completely forget about something that could be important,
right?
And we can move it forward to be positioned for the future. One of the things that's evident, there's two things I would say evident in this plan. I'm going to give this to Andrew for archiving, however he so chooses. Two things are evident. This is like most plans. This became shelfware shortly after it was written. It was put on the shelf, forgotten about. The good news is, as I read through this document, which is 31 pages long, we hit most of the high notes.
Good.
We closed down the east water plant on Washington Street, across from where the jail used to be, for those of us that old. Not that I was ever in the jail, I just drove by.
I wasn't there.
And we developed the new water plant west of town. We extended utilities I-65. We have talked about numerous times things like extending utilities to water and sewer to the development, the residential development south of Greenlawn Road, I think south of 100 South, and not having any additional development down there. There was no developer that would help pay for that extension. So just like in 2008, we haven't done that yet, but we have it on our radar. We talk about it on occasion. So looking back, we're in pretty good shape from what the plan was. The question is, what's the plan for the next 15 years look like? And we have many of the same opportunities and decisions to make with regard to residential growth, industrial growth, commercial growth. Not even thinking about the 17.68 acre rezone, right? So that's separate and apart from all that. What's going to happen along the State Road 28 corridor, where Frankfort now is zoned out to I-65 and across 65? So there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. We have a new fire station being built out there, as you know. How's this all fit together? One of the more powerful concepts in my experience, in my experience in industry, has been a simple expectation that you're better off working in collaboration with others instead of working really hard in your own silo. You can work really hard in your own silo and do everything as best you can. And if you're not talking with your partners and collaborating with your partners, you're only going to get so good, and you're going to be blind to stuff they're working on, and it just doesn't work out. So my approach, my proposed approach would be that the utilities set up a collaborative effort to include the city and the county,
and the county would be APC and whomever else they would like to nominate, and form an ongoing committee or partnership of collaboration that meets occasionally and talks through these different opportunity areas. Because what I see right now, I see, if I could use the abbreviation CEF, the Clinton County Economic Advancement Foundation, and PIP, another Partners in Progress, another group of leadership. I see the City Council Annexation Committee. We see the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development under Shan Sheridan. We see county and county finance and county commissioners all trying to move this topic forward. We see evidence that occasionally the utilities gets left out of those conversations. We recently had that happen over the weekend. So I'm trying to promote a system of working that we all expect, each other of us expect a partnership to emerge, that we collaborate on an ongoing basis, and there's a point person for our group. So that would be my recommendation. You know, without being obtuse, you know, I'm a 20-year member of the chamber. I'm connected into a lot of the economic development, so I would volunteer to be that point person. But if someone else says, "Oh no, we don't want you doing that, Rick. We need you to work on the goons," that's okay too. But I think I already have several requests from Alan Dunn, from Shan Sheridan, so the machinery is kind of moving this way, but we can talk about it. So I'll pause at that point.
Okay, so that's one, thank you. And would anybody else like to be a part of that?
I think Rick is a
Conversation.
good person
No,
for that because he does have he's already established many of those connections that need to be made.
I guess I was asking, I was not suggesting that Rick not be a part of it. I was asking for someone in addition. That way, if for some reason Rick could not.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
That way, if Rick couldn't be there, somebody else was available. And it's always, in my opinion, it's always good to have a second set of eyes on
I would be glad to be his backup because I do have my days, and Krista's got her, and you've got your.
Nope.
May not be available.
Sure.
So I would be glad to be his backup and communicate with Rick about it. But I think that Rick would be the best point person.
So, is everyone okay with creating a new liaison group then? And
I would welcome.
And where I'm rolling into this is
Mike
that
Kelly, yes.
we're not going to figure out all of our liaisons tonight. I've talked to everybody except for Rick, and I apologize. I've talked to you several times, and I keep forgetting to bring it up. So we will talk, and then we'll have something ready to go at the first of the next meeting. We'll get that hammered out along with the liaison for the Prairie Creek Watershed Partnership. Does anybody else have any comment or suggestions regarding what Rick had to say? Okay. I do have one. Sorry, go ahead, Todd.
Will I be part of that group too with Rick as the liaison?
I think that's probably pretty important.
Okay.
So
I want to make sure.
We have not.
Because I have a sneaking hunch that this is going to get rolling quicker than what we would think with everything that is potentially going to happen around here. But if you want me to stay back, I'll stay back. But if you want me to be part,
let me jump in there. I myself, if I am selected for this point person, I wouldn't move forward without Todd Corey.
Right.
Okay. Just want to be clear up front. So okay, and I have no problem with that because we have been doing a lot of talking on the different situations going around, but it's something that we need to, I think it would be wise for us to jump in front of.
You know, obviously we sent the letter late last year, or I can't remember when it was.
Yeah.
November, I believe.
November, essentially explaining our position about how we would, prefer to be included from the get-go. Nobody make assumptions or make statements regarding our, what we are intending to do or not to do, so on and so forth. And as well written as that was, and well intentioned as it was, it became very clear last week during the APC hearing specifically that message did not resonate with the folks that it was sent to. So we just, in order to clarify that, I think this partnership is pretty important because, you know, there's nobody on this board that doesn't want to help and push this community forward, but we're sure not going to be as long. And it's my opinion. I'm not going to be told what to do by anyone else, and from some other board without being consulted first. So, and I think that message will come through much more clearly in a one-on-one conversation sometimes than through written document. So,
Well, I think sometimes what we don't talk about may be the important part. So one of the important parts here, if it turns out I'm a liaison and Mike Kelly's a liaison,
Yeah.
well, what we actually have here, think about it, I'm a representative appointed by the city council.
Sure.
Mike is a representative appointed by the mayor's
Perfect.
mayor and mayor's
Yeah.
administration. So should the mayor have certain thoughts and preferences, she and Mike can
Absolutely.
talk.
Yeah.
Same with the council. We have everybody involved. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good approach.
Okay.
I think the key piece though is Todd being with them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, because I don't have the biggest fan club in the world, but if I got other people with me, but with the whole thing going, it's just saying, hey guys, we want to work with you.
Right.
And we
Right.
want to propose this and work with you.
Right.
We're not working against you, but we need to be included because let's face it, this group is a major part in potential development.
Mhm.
Correct.
And I
if
think,
we ever get
unfortunately, there's an unfortunate narrative, I think, that we don't want to play ball and we don't want to participate. And I think it would be ideal for us to make efforts to refute that opinion, simply because of the fact that we have chosen not to participate in things we don't feel are going to result in material and tangible results. And it would be ideal to be able to move away from that narrative and go back to demonstrating the fact that we are very much here to collaborate. We are very much in favor of being a part of those conversations.
Correct. I totally agree with that.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to go sit back in.
Oh, sit down. So to piggyback off that, that to me that's one side of the story, or the equation, so to speak, is that we're going to start communicating. And you've got the plan laying there on your desk from 2008. Does anyone besides myself feel like it would be worth our while as a utility to engage someone to help us develop a plan like that again?
Yes.
And in doing so, I can envision the same group being involved in trying to spearhead some of what that or what that planning document would look like. I have personal opinions of my own that I would like to interject in that. So certainly it would be an entire board when we go to vote on it, or what the final document's going to look like. But to me, that's money well spent. I don't know what that thing cost back in 2008, and but it was correct because we hit all the high points, like you said, and whether or not we utilized it or not, it was pointing us in the right direction, whether we knew it or not. No, I don't think anybody here. Well, Phil, you started here when you were here in 2008, but you weren't a department head, and I don't know, was anybody else here in 08? You were, but you weren't right. I mean, so
That really doesn't have anything to do with it.
nobody. Right. Okay, I haven't seen it.
Until
Yeah.
maybe the third quarter of
So-
last year. I didn't even know it existed. And I looked through it.
Right.
Rick said.
So-
Well, he didn't say what I'm going to say. It was dumb luck that we hit some of those things because we didn't even know they were in there.
I don't know if it was dumb luck. Over the years, there's been good.
Logical.
Right, it was
Logical.
the logical steps to take. So, in my experience, when we develop these planning documents, this isn't a quick thing. This will probably take us a year.
Yes.
And I don't want to. I'm not saying it's going to take a year because I want to slow things down or I'm trying to drag feet. I'm just being realistic.
Yes.
Anytime you come up with something like this, it's going to take some time, and it's going to take input from everyone, all the department heads, and all the board members. Todd, our attorney, these outside, maybe some of the relationships we form with this new liaison group can make suggestions that maybe we wouldn't think of, and so on and so forth. So I think it's time for us to take a hard look at what we're doing. Not that anybody's been doing anything wrong, and we hit all the benchmarks, even though we weren't really trying. But kind of goes back to like Chase was talking about earlier. If you don't have a plan, failing to plan is planning to fail. So I think that would be. And I don't have anybody in mind. It doesn't have to be Wessler. I don't know who does that kind of work. I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out pretty quick. But
Yeah, I mean, there are countless firms that do comprehensive plans, parks plans, all those kinds of things. I don't know that I've ever heard them jump to do a utilities plan, but by all means, I'm sure it exists somewhere.
Right. So,
well, two thoughts. One, you're absolutely right, Josh. The way I think of this, if we think of this as a process, if we build a collaborative team, what we're essentially going to start doing is identifying some draft input information, let's call that would go in to end up producing a planning document like this.
Right.
So I would submit that if we do some initial work, form the collaborative team, have some initial conversations, sketch out some high-level ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're starting to see input information emerge from that collaborative group here local.
Right.
And that will put us in a position to inform the development of a plan like this. So we're probably 3 to 6 months out for having enough input information to give to somebody.
Right.
But meanwhile, I absolutely agree. Let's think in terms of, we're going to come to the point pretty soon, within, let's say 6 months or a little sooner, that we're going to want to hire someone to do this, right? I think that's the only way to go.
Right.
The advantage of that is if we hire someone who has some experience in this, they help protect us from our blind spots.
Right.
We may not see something that they say, hey, what about this? Oh, we didn't think about that. That would be helpful. So this might be something we want to put out to bid, even though we're not required to, because the amount will probably be below the threshold. We may want to put it out to bid to get 3 or 4 alternative firms to say, well, I like this guy's thinking. Let's go with them this time.
Okay.
So just float that out there.
Sounds fair to me. One final thing I'll say about it, and I'll be quiet so everybody can go home, is that once we develop this plan, I'm going to suggest that we put it in the form of a board resolution that this is going to be a plan that we're going to follow, so that what happened in 2008 doesn't happen again, and
Don't stray off course.
and this is not all for naught. Somebody else doesn't come in and say, hey, this is, they're going to have to overturn it to go away from it. So anyway, okay. Any other discussion or any topics? Anyone care to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
When will our next meeting be, date-wise? Can you clarify it for me?
The 2nd of February.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that correct, Todd? Okay.
Well, unless you're having another one. But other
I didn't think we were going to. No.
I didn't.
No.
It was not on the
No.
list.
No. Okay. So, all right.
Good.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.